as a kid, I had a fascination with animals. I remember as a kid, from time to time, whenever I could, I would watch nature on PBS, read books about animals and stuff. And one of the animals that I had a particular fascination with was monkeys. And anything with a monkey in it, I would like, usually take a look at it, like films and stuff, like, movies like Project X. And there was this one movie that had a monkey in it that was called Monkey Shines. I remember seeing a commercial for it when the film first came out, and I don't know, just like, oh, like Monkey Shines. What a fascinating title. Like, what does that even mean, Monkey Shines? And by the commercial, it looked like it was about a killer monkey, but I couldn't really like gauge anything more than that, like what the film was about. Um, it was one of those films like, if I ever came across it, I'll watch it. But it wasn't like when I saw the commercials as a kid, like I had to see that. But it did, seeing the commercials of Monkey Shines did pique my interest. It would be quite a while before I would see Monkey Shines. It would be probably close to about a decade before I finally did. And the thing is, what pushed me to finally go ahead and watch Monkey Shines was knowing that it was directed by George A. Romero. Now, when I first knew about Monkey Shines, I didn't know it was directed by Romero. I didn't even know who Romero was at the time. I knew about Night of the Living Dead, but I didn't know who directed it. In fact, I didn't know who directed most movies at that time. I was a little kid. Since the release of Monkey Shines, I did discover that George Romero had directed the film, and it was definitely on my list of films to see once I really got into Romero's work. I saw Monkey Shines for the first time by way of VHS rental, and I enjoyed it. I really liked it. Now, I didn't think it was on, it quite reached the top tier of Romero's best work, but it definitely was a film that I found more than worth my time, and I've seen it again very recently. In fact, it was yesterday where I saw it for the first time in 4K. The print looked really good. I haven't seen Monkey Shines that many times. Probably of all his Romero films, probably of all the Romero films that I've seen more than once. And there's only one that I've seen once. No. There's two films of his, well, full-length features that I've seen only once. There always will be Vanilla and Season of the Witch. I also have seen the Amusement Park only once at this point in time, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you can consider that full-length feature, even though it's longer than short. But Monkey Shines, I think I've only seen maybe 3 or 4 times in total. Where with the other Romero stuff, even stuff that I'm not super thrilled about, like Land of the Dead. Though I do like Land of the Dead. I've seen that like several times. Even Survival of the Dead, I think I've seen it like maybe 5 times or something. But the great thing about Romero's work is that you always discover something big, something small, something in the middle that you never quite, noticed before. Whether it's maybe the way how a scene was shot, or some sub themes, like something, or just maybe a little Easter egg, something somewhere that you always, just a little nugget of goodness that you find and discover with every viewing of Romero's work. And yeah, I found this most recent viewing of Monkey Shines to be even more enriching experience in terms of the themes. It definitely shares similar themes to Day of the Dead, in that you have a situation where you have a person, the lead character, played by Jason Beghe, who's really, really good in the movie. And as the movie progresses, he begins to lose his humanity, become more animalistic, more rageful, more aggressive, while the monkey that takes care of him, Ella, becomes more human, though not necessarily more humane as the film goes along. But yeah, in Day to Dead, it was like, the zombies, at least in the case of Bub, became more human, had, developed more humanity, and while the actual humans were, at least some of them, were losing their humanity. Monkey Shines, just like Romero's earlier works, explores the theme of like, um, civility and like, is it really within us to be civil, or innately, or is civility just a social construct, a thing that we say that we have to be in order to keep society going? You see this in Romero's original Dead trilogy. As soon as the zombie apocalypse, begins, all pretense of like us being good to one another, us being respectful, just goes right out the window in the name of survival, in the name of power and greed. Um, Especially in Day of the Dead, you see that. In the original Dead trilogy, the question is it the zombie apocalypse that's making people their worst selves, or is the zombie apocalypse an excuse that people use in being their worst selves? In the crazies, you have the biochemical weapon that goes ahead and affects the citizens. There's no question that the chemical does go ahead and has a really negative effect on people's mentality and causes them to do some really horrific things, but how much of that is truly just the bioweapon? I think it was named Trixie in the movie, that is causing people to basically go ahead and be murderously psychotic, to commit some really vile acts. How much of that is the chemicals, and how much of that is actually the people? And inside Monkey Shines, you have the character Alan, who does develop a psychic bond with Ella. Um, and as time goes on, as Ella becomes more human and intelligent, Alan, he begins to regress. He becomes more animalistic. He becomes more aggressive, and he starts acting out and just behaving really badly with everyone around him. And there's no question that Ella's influence is affecting him, their psychic bond. But how much is that Ella's influence, his bad behavior, and how much is that just Alan just unleashing the darkest parts of himself? The movie Monkey Shines is based on a book of the same name written by Michael Stewart. The cast is solid all across the board. Besides Jason Bakey, the remaining cast of the film is Kate McNeil, Christine Forrest, John Pankow, Joyce Van Patten, Stanley Tucci, Stephen Root, and Janine Turner. Also, cannot forget to mention the performance from Bob the Monkey, who played Ella in the film. Monkey Shines is definitely not your typical movie, definitely not your typical horror movie, and that's why it's good. It definitely is more character driven than anything else. If you're looking for a standard, animal on the loose, killing people type of, movie, Monkey Shines is definitely not for you. There's definitely like a lot of character stuff, dramatic stuff throughout the film, but it is an intense film. It is a film that has, it is a compelling movie, and there's enough drama like mixed in with the horror. There's more than enough tension to keep you engaged. There's more than enough compelling drama to keep you engaged in characters. And there's definitely a good amount of horror to satisfy your horror taste. So yeah, if you're looking for a animal, horror film that is not your typical thing, then give Monkey Shines a shot. It's another one of George Romero's underrated gems.